Let's just let go of all the stresses and the bits and pieces from today and just take a nice deep breath and relax and settle into our meditation posture. And if you are sitting at your desk in a chair with your feet down on the ground, just make sure they're in a parallel position and something underneath your feet to support them, knees parallel, sits bones slightly raised. And, well, more than slightly, maybe a couple of inches, 2 to 4 inches. Shoulders are aligned with the hips, hands in the meditation mudra with the right hand nestled in the left with the thumbs touching. You can have something like maybe a couple of cushions underneath each knee if your knees are tight. Also having your sits bones raised helps if your knees and hips are tight as well. So just imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head. And welcome Stephanie and Manuel. And just imagine that someone is above you, very gently lengthening your spine. Just putting some space in between those vertebrae. And just coaxing all the tight little muscles along the spine, along your back, to just unknot and lengthen. So you can feel it, you hardly even have to do anything, just to let everything relax and lengthen. The head is slightly tipped forward, the eyes are down looking along the length of the nose, tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, and relax the jaw. Let's bring our awareness to the crown of the head and relax the scalp and the forehead and the eyes, and just take your attention to the back of the eye and just relax that area there. As if you wear corrective lenses, it's likely that area is a bit tight. And relax the nose, the area around the mouth. And bring your attention to the back of the head and relax the scalp there, particularly around the occipital bone, the base of the skull. And relax the ears, the inner ears, the temples, the jaw, the back of the tongue. Just let it all go. And relax and release any tension in the back of the neck and the shoulders. And just allow your shoulder blades to drop down, just to put your angel wings back in their pocket. And the upper thoracic, just let that release. Relax the throat and the chest and the belly, the limbs, hands, fingers, and feet and toes. And bring the mind back to the breath. And noticing the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. So the sensation you should feel on the outside of the nostrils as you're breathing in and out. And nice steady breath, steady breathing, steady mind. If there are any sounds in your environment, just allow those sounds to be there. Try not to have the mind wander off to investigate. And if your mind is wandering off to investigate, just try and notice what it is that's attracting or distracting you. And then notice some thoughts. Try not to engage. or follow a story, or create a story. Getting caught up in all our stories that we have going on in our mind about ourselves and others and things and this and that. Maybe allow some space in between your thoughts. And then take a step back. Take a seat on the riverbank. And watch that river of mental moments flow by. Like a curious, interested scientist. Objective. Because while you're on the bank of the river, you are free from the river. And bring the mind to the breath as we bring to our attention all the people of our life. And these are all the people that you have constructive, healthy relationships with. And then there's those people you are experiencing some difficulty with. And then there's those people that we have in our life who are very fleetingly in and out, like in the traffic as we're driving home. Hello Vanessa, welcome, and Elizabeth. You're standing in line next to them at the supermarket, behind or in front. And all these people are equal in their, just like us, they deserve our equal concern because they are all equal in their wish to be happy and never really seeming to find contentment, satisfaction, and their wish to be free from their suffering. Constantly running into it. And they're all the same as us, with having this incredible capacity for this enlightened mind. So just think we'll do this meditation this evening on the Vajrasattva in the context of the four opponent powers for all these people of our life, and by extension all the sentient beings, and particularly all those in the northern New Mexico and Arizona, involved in fires, people in Ukraine, involved in the war. And many, many other people getting involved in shootings and this and that. So many difficult things. So remember, there is no negativity that cannot be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. So we create negativity with our mind, so we can create positive energy with our mind instead. And the first of the four opponent powers is the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. So having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we all understand about suffering. And we don't want more of it. So logically, it would make sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as our future suffering. So think like this. I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And again, think, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, whom can I turn to? What can I do about it? So here we come to the power of reliance. So we rely upon, we turn to the Buddha, the doctor, who has the methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we're needing Buddha to forgive us. We want to purify ourselves by relying upon his methods. So just imagine him, Vajrasattva, above the crown of your head. And you can imagine this is your teacher, your guru, your trusted mentor, if you have one. This is the mind of that person manifesting in this form for your benefit. And imagine this image, this visualization. It's blissful, radiant white light, like a hologram, translucent. Vajrasattva sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. The lotus, although born out of mud, is untainted by that mud, just like our enlightened potential, born out of our delusions, yet untainted by them. He has this beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for us. And he has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. He has a 5-pointed crown on his head and jewelry all over his body, his wrists and neck, around his waist and ankles. He's wearing the celestial silken robes of a monk in the Royal Indian style, with scarves around his neck, again also around his waist. And he is wearing, he has an aura of light around his head and around his body. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom. The right is holding a Vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents a union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, there's just a little section here on developing compassion, we need to rely upon other beings. So just bring to mind the very beings you have harmed and those who have harmed you, and try and develop a sense of them just being free from any kind of suffering. And particularly for the people who have harmed you, because the suffering they've caused you is going to ripen as suffering for them in the future. So just think, I must purify for all of their sakes. So next we come to the power of remedy, and this is the medicine, this practice of recitation of the mantra and visualization of light and nectar. So first there's a purification of the body. So Guru Vajrasattva very compassionately sends, first of all, powerful nectar, like coming out of a hose very forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you have ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mipiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita duda meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita duda meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita duda meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified. And think there is no way to do anything other than benefit others now with your body. And the next is a purification of the speech. And again, Guru Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra. And this arcs around and forcefully enters your crown, filling your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech. And this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. And it's just similar to when you put a dirty glass in the sink and you fill it up with water and all the gunk kind of overflows, except this kind of overflowing is a little bit more powerful. Lama Yeshe says, or Lamsa Rinpoche used to say, it's sort of like as forceful as the wind is blowing a hat off your head. So can you imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs? All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you, and kind of, you can imagine it's kind of shooting out of the top of the head as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita duda meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita duda meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita duda meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita duda meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified. And imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. So as soon as they hear you, the sweet sounds of your voice, it automatically benefits their mind. I think that you have that much power. You know exactly what to say at exactly the right time. And next is the purification of the mind. And Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. And it's just the same as when you walk into a room and you switch on a light. That light instantly dispels the darkness in the room, doesn't it? So it's the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart touches your heart, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your depression and anger and anxiety and attachment and grasping and neediness and wanting, dissatisfaction, grudges, bitterness, jealousies, Lama Rinpoche calls it jealousness. All this is instantly dispelled by this light as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sepokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sepokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sepokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sepokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sepokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sepokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sepokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. So again, be delighted, really rejoice that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause why we harm others with our body and our speech, are totally purified on. And think there is no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech and mind. So it's just like an extra cleaning out. So this time we can perhaps do a couple of mantras each, if you wish, for the visualization of the body, the speech and the mind. Or just imagine light and nectar pouring into you and eradicating even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sepokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sepokaya Meboa Anurakta meboa sawasi mipiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sata aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasiti mipiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasiti mipiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasiti mipiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasiti mipiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasiti mipiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. Now feel completely purified. Not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to omniscience have been removed. So finally is the power of resolve. And this is where we just make a decision. Just decide to think about, I'm going to start refraining from harming. So here's where we try to sort of dig into all of our habits. Sometimes we say things that's kind of out the mouth before we've even realized we've thought about it, and then we regret and we're kicking ourselves, God, I wish I hadn't said that. So now we just make a decision. We're going to refrain from certain kinds of speech, certain kinds of behavior that are harmful to ourselves and others for 5 seconds, or 4 minutes, or an hour, or overnight while you're asleep. So whatever it is you can manage, stick to that, and then maybe try and increase it or try a different thing. So it's this aspiration, this decision to not do again is what gives us the strength to change. We just decide. So to conclude, Vajrasattva is really delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through crown and think, my Guru's body, speech and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech and mind, and my own body, speech and mind are the same thing. And LAMA YESHE used to call that union, oneness. So next Rinpoche recommends, Lama Zopa, to meditate on the emptiness of the 3 circles. In emptiness there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So place your mind in that emptiness for just a little moment. So you can think of perhaps all things are empty, all phenomena are empty. They do not exist from their own side. And perhaps you can think the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they exist or even the way they are. So let's just dedicate all the positive energy, all the merit we've created this evening doing this purification to all living beings, all the people of our life, thinking, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, Tub Shul Chang Shin Jam Gon Galloway, Tenzing kyong pelwe kunzo dog porze chog sum kurwe leg mon tu drub pa dag sog dulje gondu jab ten shog. And for Lama Ursel, Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, for those wanderers in far-off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us and intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land, we make this request. O Lama, please, please live long. And for Geshe Cherub, beloved teacher, leading your students toward wisdom and compassion, explaining through exacting discernment the steps of the graduate path. You are the unequal guide. Please live a long and stable life. So there we go again, gone like a dream. Thank you very much, everybody. Lots of love. Sleep well, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. Okay. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Venerable.
Bye-bye.